Lawley. He's head of communications at the UK-based charity Syria Relief. Mr. Lawley, good to speak with you. So just tell us, if you can, a little bit about this area where this 6-year-old was killed and why it's so difficult to remove these munitions.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me on. So this happened in the area of Sarmin in Idlib, and it was as you said, the site of a cluster munitions attack on January 1st, 2020. By a perverse coincidence, that there was unexploded cluster munition attack. There was multiple bombs which were unexploded, and this boy, Khaith Hussein Al-Alou, was searching for firewood with his sister, his 4-year-old sister, and his 5-year-old cousin by the site of the school 400 meters away in Sarmin, and he came across what he thought was a toy, and to the innocent brain of a 6-year-old child, he couldn't have believed it was an unexploded bomb. And yeah, he picked it up, wanted to take this new toy home, and it was a UXO, an unexploded ordnance, and it blew up in his hands. In Sarmin, in Idlib, it was just during the height of the Idlib crisis last winter. It was a target of many attacks during the crisis.
Yeah, and what work is being done to try and stop these kind of munitions being used? Of course, the war in Syria, there have been many lines crossed in terms of weapons of war being used that really are not in line with international law, and cluster munitions are one of them.
Yeah, so Human Rights Watch did a investigation onto the attack on our school, because the attack on January 1st was on one of the 306 schools we operate inside Syria, and Human Rights Watch did an investigation on it, and it was a cluster munition. It is completely, well, it's illegal, but military actors within the conflict are still using them. So, I mean, in terms of legally, what needs to be done is actors in this conflict. The Human Rights Watch pointed the finger at the Syrian regime and its Russian allies, but all actors in the conflict need to ban cluster munitions. It was also an attack on a school. You know, the investigation found there was no military targets nearby. There was nothing which could have been confused for a military target. It was a cluster bomb dropped on a primary school. At the time, it was 11:45 in the day, a.m. So school was in session. It was an attack meant to kill children, and at the time it did. It killed initially 12 children. It killed 12 people, 5 children, and now we believe it's killed a 13th person, a 6th child. This 6-year-old boy. 364 days later, the attack happened on New Year's Day, and yeah, by perverse coincidence, it's happened on New Year's Eve. In terms of what we can do as an NGO, sadly, we have to, in all of our schools, our 306 schools, we have to train children to look out for unexploded bombs. It's a sad reality in Syria, especially in Idlib, that children have to be trained to be careful of things which could blow them up and kill them.
Absolutely. Okay, Charles Lawley there. That unexploded munition, an indiscriminate weapon that's used in the war in Syria. I wish you luck in your work. From Syria Relief there, Charles Lawley in Derbyshire. Thank you for joining us.